like talking through my sci-fi story. Why are we slowing down all of a sudden for no reason? The other lane's fine. Okay, whatever. Yeah, so my sci-fi story, a lot of it came from actually a book I co-wrote with a friend in 7th and 8th grade. If I get permission from her, we'll probably talk about it together. But a lot of it came from that, and then quite a bit more of it came from a conglomeration of things. I had some ideas for a story, for like a few different stories actually. So in it's like galactic wars and stuff, but then also we had the All But Ordinary, and then I Hate Heroes introduction, and then a Civil War idea. And so essentially a lot of the ideas came from that book I co-wrote with her. And then I wanted to still write this story. There's like a lot of reasons why we didn't like go back and redo things and yada yada yada. That's a discussion for another time. But so I really love writing the sci-fi thing, so I came up with more ideas, and then I was like, I could chain these all together. I believe the first thing I wrote for the sci-fi series is like in the idea that it would be in the galaxy, was Galactic War 3, as I started there, and that's still some of my favorite writing. I have to say that is it really is, and it's unfortunate that even though I love it so much, it doesn't really work anymore, at least world building wise. I think technically it still works, I just will have to tweak things, but it still hurts because I'm like, it works so well. But in the original version of it, it's my new take was Yove. She is a genius little scientist kid who grew up in the Knights, so she's supposed to basically be a soldier, because they're separated to families, and so the Knights, but she wants to be a scientist. So that's our main character. She's just a cute little, like, she's doing her own thing, she's smart and know-it-all, and yep, that's basically it. And then we have Xeon. So this one is a love story, basically, kind of deal. But obviously there's so much happening. But we have the two main characters. Xeon, I forgot his last name, and Yove Shodex. So, Xeon is part of the Kishians, and then Yove is part of the Zhurlins. So the Zhurlins are known as like rich, wealthy, high society kind of style warriors, if that makes sense. And the Kishians are a spacefaring, traveling people who mostly live on space stations, and they also they very much value scientific and leadership qualities. So Xeon wants to be a scientist, but he makes a really good leader and manager. So that's kind of his thing. And being a scientist in his group makes sense. But the Kishians and the Zhurlins have an alliance, and they're on this planet called Vex. And Vex is like a training world and scientific study world. So it's almost like a station. Most of the planet is uninhabitable, so they have to they live inside of like a complex facilities thing. Almost think like if we had to live on Mars, and like you didn't want to walk around in suits all the time when you went outside. It's just like, and everything's indoors and stuff. So if you remember back in I Hate Heroes, when I was explaining the world building of Eris a little bit, how everybody's underground, it's kind of like they did that, but they built it all on the surface of the planet, just interconnecting and like a bunch of cool halls and stuff connected to each other. But it looks super industrial because the Gerlins value gold. And while they value gold and finery and all of that, Vex is kind of a world where it's been under different jurisdictions, and the Kishians helped build it, and they decided to just keep everything simple and clean, and just, it's a training facility. It doesn't need to be glamorous. Obviously the Gerlins, they spruce up their own rooms and whatever, but Vex is a student world where they just kind of think of it as like where the boarding schools are. So that's where we are, and that is where Yove is. She's there for training. She kind of just left her family to do it. I don't remember how old I made them. I think 12. It's generally the age that I like to put characters as. Because any younger, it gets a little difficult to explain. It makes it have to be, it doesn't have to be more PG. I mean, Ender's Game does it phenomenally with kids, but I don't know. Also, their races live for a very long time because with the Aptrothian serum, they also extended their lifeline a bit more, which that's a whole other topic. Since we're going to focus more on the origins today. Yeah. So anyway, the Gerlins and the Kishians also kind of bash heads with each other a lot because of the different cultural values. With the Gerlins, they really care so much about appearance and everything like that, and the Kishians don't really care about that per se. I mean, they care about how you carry yourself and stuff, but the way you carry yourself shows your intelligence, and they care about your skill set. So it's very much a merit-based society rather than a classist society. And because their values differ in that way, makes sense. Obviously, certain kinds of skills and talents and merits are valued more than others in German society. The knights are heavily awarded, and they are looked up to. They're up there at the top, underneath the Sultan. I have a hierarchy somewhere. One day I'll show more of that, but going based off of memory. And so Yove is just kind of, she's very inspired by this scientist named Zimana. And, or is it Zimena? Zimana, Resident Alien, Zimena. Sorry, there's two characters. The characters aren't actually, there's one that's not actually part of the story. She was just, more fact, she was my VTuber, and I wanted her based off of Zimena. Yeah, Zimena. So, yes, and Zimena is the scientist that created the Aptrothians. They found out about the Aptrothian, the Zimenites, which created the Aptrothian serum, which there is not that much of it because the resources were really, really small. So there was a huge, like, resource debacle over that, and that's a whole other thing. That one is it almost was a Galactic War 3, but then wasn't. It was part of Galactic War 2. No. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember that part of the timeline. It was very complicated to figure that one out. But basically, she looks up to her, and she's deceased now. So Yove is like, how can I be just like her? I want to create something that helps people just like the Aptrothian serum did, because she's a very, very positive person, and she doesn't see how any of her creations could be used for war. So when she creates like these nanobots for her school project, she then is like, oh, this was so cool, this was so it could help out and extend life even longer. It can help people who get sick, even who are Aptrophians, who aren't Aptrophians. It can help all these people. She's thinking in a very medicinal way. But obviously, people are like, oh, well, these people, they could get shot and be okay. Like, the nanobots will repair them. War weapon. And we're on the verge of Galactic War 3 already. There's already tension between the Lumari and everyone else, basically, and people are picking sides, if that makes sense. So they're like, we could use this, and they've been honestly in a stagnation for years after Ximena was gone. Oh, you're gonna let me in? Yes, thank you. Love you. Awesome. Sorry, got to merge. And then, so Yove makes that, and then the Kishians and Zerlins that are working together on these weapons then tell her, hey, you're done with school for now. We want you to work on this project. And then Xion's also one of the smartest kids there, so he's also pulled to work on this project. I need to get over at some point. Cool. So yeah. And we need to do one more time. Yes. And so, where was I? Apologies for the delay. Yeah, so she's pulled out, and so she's working on this. And Xion's there, and then of course, they butt heads right off the bat. It's really fun. And there's a lot of character development there. I don't have that much written because then I realized, oh, this doesn't work anymore because I was writing it and then I actually referenced Earth because in the original Earth, Mars, that whole thing was used, but then I decided I wanted my sci-fi story to not include Earth specifically. Something I kind of enjoy about Star Wars is that Earth isn't a factor. So I wanted to keep that idea. And that's when I created Eris, so there were some things I had to go back and change that referenced Earth, and I just changed it to the mythical Eris planet. But I also had to work with the lore of Eris, and Eris has kind of disappeared from the map right now. So it's more of like a mythic planet that no one really knows existed, but a lot of people came from Eris, so there is lore there, but it's been generations and generations. 200 years since I Hate Heroes, basically. Or it was going to be 200 or 1,000. I think it's 200. Last I decided. So, yeah. So the whole thing is she ends up creating it and it works. And then the Lumari find out and come to take it. The Kishians and the Zerlins break up because of it, and Yove's out on the run because they wiped it from everything. The only place left, the only one who knows how it works is her. By the time they make it work, she is older. I think I made her early 20s when they finally finish it. Projects like that can take forever. So all of that happened. Xion actually already left the project long beforehand. The Kishians technically broke up before she finishes it and everything breaks up. So she's basically, the story ends up being her on the run. People are after her. We're exploring the galaxy and then eventually finding Eris. I'll leave there's a lot more to there, but that is the beginnings of a sci-fi story. That is what the series is called. Oh, that is not my exit. The guy in front of me did the same thing. So yeah. And while I was writing that, I did realize that I could incorporate I Hate Heroes, and then I realized I could incorporate All But Ordinary shortly after, and I then changed some things. I remodeled All But Ordinary to fit, and then All But Ordinary wasn't going to be part of Galactic War 1 at first, but then I decided that it works that way. Yeah. Also, before I close out this video, I would like to note that I will be having more time in my life in the next coming months, so I will be able to make some more interesting videos, at least visually, and more scripted stuff. So hopefully I can show at least like some artwork and things that I worked on for these stories. And maybe if I'm feeling generous, I'll read some excerpts from it too. I'd also like to get feedback on the story. It's still in the writing stage, so if you do make comments, I might be able to, I don't know, it might help inspire something. I don't know. I think a lot of people have a lot of interesting and cool ideas. I remember when I was working on my webtoon, I think someone made some kind of comment where I was like, actually, that would be interesting to do later. And then I kind of changed some things to use it because I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's why I love co-writing. That's a whole other video. Yep, we're starting the sci-fi story. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.